question is, if hell exists, what is it like? And generally, how I understand these questions of the afterlife, these are all metaphors because we don't really know. We assume there's going to be an afterlife simply because we believe in a just God. There's only one afterlife. Everyone's going to the same place. But essentially, the parable that sits pretty well with me is that heaven and hell are the same place. Not everyone who is born Jewish has a Jewish soul. And what do I believe about other religions? I respect them. Good evening, everybody. I'm on my way home from Monster Bash Under the Stars, which was in Vandergrift, Pennsylvania. We enjoyed ourselves, had a nice Shabbos, daven. I wore my SHTREIMEL and my Bekisha there at the campsite most of the day until it got too hot. Changed back into a t-shirt, but kept my Shabbos pants on and took a nap and enjoyed. And we walked around a little bit in the drive-in talking to people who were also camped out there enjoying themselves at the Monster Bash program, including what we showed on the video, Chris Yeworth, and we talked about the BLOB. And we had some lawn chairs and a little table, and we sat and we had Kiddush, and we brought some amazing meals, so we were able to have cholent and kugel. So, you know, yeah, maybe it's not the right thing to do. But I'm not, and the truth is I didn't wear white socks. I got Pepperhoisen that are long and was wearing Crocs. But still, with the SHTREIMEL and the Bekisha, one of the light Bekishas. I'll admit that I'm a Russia, and I have a lot of problems in my life. So, but to say I'm not a rabbi, I don't know. I mean, rabbi is an English word, you know. When I say I'm not a rebbe, I'm not a ruv, I'm not a rabbi. Conservative reform, you can also spell Reish Aleph Beis Yud. I'm at least like them, you know. I work as a rabbi, that's what I do professionally. Smicha that I gave to my friend Rabbi Mezen, I appreciate that Mordechai here calls him rabbi on that account. I want to note one thing first. Rabbi Mezen had smicha before he knew me. Why would I give smicha? My smicha, it really isn't worth anything. I'll be honest. I'm just a regular guy. Happened to be a rabbi in a shul, had smicha, whatever. My smicha really isn't worth that much. You know, you're not going to be able to join the RCA with my smicha. You're probably not going to get a patur from the Israeli army if you make aliyah. And I was the same way. I was very hot-blooded anti-missionary, and I realized at how empty a lot of this anti-missionary work is in the Jewish world. How do we interact with these things? But you know, I mostly take my views on interacting with these other faiths in the sense that I recognize it's not mine. I am Jewish. Judaism is my religion, 100% rabbinical, classical, Orthodox Judaism. I believe to be the 100% the true faith. But I get inspiration from teachers of other faiths, whether they be Buddhist or Christian or Muslim, and learn parables from them, as my Rabbeim do too. I know, you know, one of my Rabbeim who I'm very close with, and I don't want to embarrass him with this actual story. I'm already here at work, but it's also how do I deal with this personally, because I'm a supervisor for clergy of other faiths, and how do I balance that as a chaplain who not only works with other faiths but supervises them? And in my own personal life, and this is what I'll share, and I would go on a Christian talk show if they asked me, just like Rabbi Daniel Lapin does, just like Rabbi Shmuley Bateach does, and all these others. Now the message of Thanksgiving is that same message, because Thanksgiving is a holiday when we remember
the providence of God. In American history, particularly in the early days, there were very few words used to describe God more than providence.
Shabbos, I'm making this video just a few minutes before Shabbos to express my shock and dismay and upset at a tremendous chilul Hashem, a tremendous desecration of God's name. That there was a very fine person, Matthew Kelly. He's a motivational speaker and author, marriage counselor, and he offered to share his wisdom with a shul in Boca Raton, Florida, an Orthodox shul, Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg shul.
Start thinking seriously about Jesus, I always come to the same conclusion. I don't know Jesus anywhere near as well as I should. You see, Jesus is the one who changed everything.
And there was a whole horrible, chilul Hashem, disgusting, bigoted, hateful campaign against this event. And in the end, Mr. Kelly canceled the event because of the pressure from these bigots. And even though I had nothing to do with it, even from the beginning, as soon as I heard about this, I fought against this campaign against Mr. Kelly. I still feel an achrayus, I feel a responsibility to apologize as a member of the Jewish community, to apologize for this insult, that how people, they could go and harass a nice person who's trying to share wisdom with our community, and harassing him. It's bigotry, it's hatred, and this is not Judaism. And I'm very upset to hear this. It's very heartbreaking. Jesus is the healer of my soul.
You know, my feeling is like Dr. Brown. He's a really great Christian, but he's just a lousy Jew. And he should just drop the whole Jewish nonsense and then just be a good Christian. Keeps halacha, and they just happen to believe Jesus is the Messiah. They're still a kosher Jew. They might be wrong, but they're still a kosher Jew. But meaning, he would make it seem like that they're just wrong. But it's not like heretic. The heresy that he has is not that he accepted Jesus, but that he abandoned Judaism. And that's what I would argue. And
I had a discussion with a Muslim apologist, but my phone didn't.
So they were not as ethical. If you're making the same argument about the Noahide laws, the Noahide laws are ethical, but Islam and Christianity are more ethical.
I would even, go so far as to say, which, some of my co-religionists might find blasphemous, but I believe the United States of America, as this republic as it stands, is greater than the kingdoms of David, of Solomon, and Hezekiah, my ancestors, who I love and revere and venerate. Particularly Hezekiah, I venerate very greatly. But nonetheless, there's something about America that is unique in world history, in a way built upon the greatness of that which was set forth by David and Solomon and Hezekiah and Josiah and other great kings of my religious ancestry. But nonetheless, there's something special about America. In a way, the way that the religious Zionists, I'm an anti-Zionist, but the way the religious Zionists feel about the modern state, so-called state of Israel, in a way that's how I feel about America. I want to say Hallel on the 4th of July. I love this country so much, not because of its land or its culture, but because of which are great and wonderful, but there are other lands and cultures that are great and wonderful throughout the world, but the unique ideology set forth in our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and most of the amendments to the Constitution, with a few exceptions of the progressive amendments. The only one that's really good of the progressive amendments is women's suffrage, but the others, the worst two, I guess, other than prohibition that was repealed, but the worst two that are extant certainly are the income tax and the Lishmor chikecha v'lasis tzeinecha l'avdecha v'lai b'shulayim. Lishmor chikecha v'lasis tzeinecha l'avdecha v'lai b'shulayim. So anyway, here's this day that since 1863 has been established as an annual day in America to be a Yom Ian in the Indian of Hakaras Tov. A lot of people say, why do we need the Thanksgiving Day? For us, every day is Thanksgiving. Yes and no. And the British Shalom should help us to pray.
and to give thanks that God should give us the strength to thank Him. We should thank God for the schus to thank Him. I got to share something. It's not another not Jewish source. This is a song. It was written by a minister, a Christian minister. He was a reverend and he was a doctor, but most people know him as Mister. He wrote a beautiful hymn. I think it's really appropriate for Thanksgiving. Let's find the lyrics here, and we'll sing in zusammen, because I think it's worthwhile to this, and I'm going to copy it here also. This is a song that Fred Rogers wrote, and I want you all to see this. This is Kedai. Oh, Nachamo. It's copy. So too long. Copy, delete. And the end is incredible. Good night, God, and thank you for this very lovely day. Thank you, too, for helping us at work and at our play. Thank you for our families, for each and every friend. Forgive us, please, for anything we've done that might offend. Keep us safe and faithful, God. Tell us what to do. Good night, God, and thank you, God, for letting us love you. Good night, God, and thank you, God, for letting us love you. That's mamish, a beautiful message. I was not a big fan of Mr. Rogers. Growing up, my wife was a big fan. She met him once, and she thanked him for inspiring her so much. But I was never a big close to Mr. Rogers, but Lamaisa, that's mamish incredible. Good night, God. And
Same thing people ask, is it wrong to pray for their favorite sports team? I'm not a sports fan personally, but of course you should pray. Of course. Why not? God is in control of everything, to the subatomic particle. So of course, pray for making money, pray for health, pray for your animals, your pets, your friends, everything. Pray for your enemies, pray for your sports teams, pray for everything. Well, that's what I was saying. You don't necessarily have to wear Yalmuka. You don't necessarily have to do a lot of these things that we do. It's perfectly fine, not to be part of a certain community that has a certain culture and a certain politics to it. There's no obligation to be a Hasidish like this, I personally, I like the way it looks, but they shouldn't think that somebody who doesn't do these things, that there's something wrong with them. There's a lot of room for a lot of different ways for people to present themselves, but there's a time and a place for all these things, meaning sometimes you might want to wear a t-shirt, and I guess jeans, even though I find jeans extremely uncomfortable. I don't understand why anyone would want to wear jeans. I love very flexible dress pants. That's what I like to wear. When I was a kid, I always wore sweatpants all the time because I hated jeans. I couldn't imagine wearing a stiff my mom would take me to wear jeans. I just hated it. But I like dress pants because they're comfortable, and sometimes you wear a t-shirt, a baseball cap, but still wear your tzitzis. If you're a man, you should still, but there's a time and a place for everything, And again, tzitzis, it's the same thing. There's no obligation specifically to put on a four-corner garment. It's just if you do, you have to have tzitzis on. You have to wear them all the time? No, but is it a good thing to do? Sure. The main reason why I'm saying this is that we should learn not to look down on people who don't do all these things. That's the main message. I'm going to stop here. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to make a little bit of follow-up to the video I made this morning about the issue as to whether or not sneeze is a social construct or if it is something that is essential. And before I talk about that, I also want to make it clear that there are many other things that we do. I know it seems like maybe I'm picking on the women, talking about sneeze, although sneeze is an issue both for men and women. But additionally, I would say that, things like wearing a yarmulke, covering one's head for a man, that's also a thing that is essentially it's not a requirement. It goes by the standards of the community in which one is in. Even, exceeding or even giving women a liot or having women lead prayers and things like that.
Hi there, friends. Starting a new show, a new series we're hoping to have on a regular basis. I'm not sure if it's going to be once a week or once a month or maybe twice a month. We're not sure yet exactly how often, but we're going to be reviewing different things, TV shows, movies, radio shows. Generally, there'll be family-friendly programs, educational shows, maybe some old movies here and there, old TV shows, and things that I find around that I want to review. Sometimes they're good reviews, sometimes they're bad reviews. The first review I want to share with you is a very positive one that my whole family is going to have to have the catalog reverse plate. So if you learn to get that, it's a very good one. It's a very good one.